At the age of 16, you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't even buy some cleaning products. Can't vote either. And the voting age is being challenged by politically conscious teens who believe they're at least as informed as the majority of the electorate. There are plenty of people, though, who think the voting age is fine right where it is. Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski spoke to people from all ends of the spectrum for our 360 look at the voting age debate.
The case for lowering the voting age to 16 first started making headlines again following the Parkland shooting.
Where is the common sense in these laws because of the systematic failure of our government on every level?
Supporters say this student activism is challenging the tiresome stereotype that American teens are narcissists whose brains have been idled by smartphones.
That us kids don't know what we're talking about, that we're too young to understand how the government works.
In their view, if high school students can organize a worldwide march in face of an issue as difficult as gun control, they are more than capable of voting. Others see this as proof teens have a stake in the game and politicians need to pay attention to them. So why hesitate to include a new demographic of voters, more eager and engaged than a lot of us?
I find it entertaining.
John Caldera, president of Denver's Independence Institute, says not so fast.
So we're going to put out warnings not to eat Tide Pods, but we're also going to let them vote.
He also believes 16-year-olds shouldn't be allowed to vote on how other people's money is spent.
To vote on other people's money when you're not paying into the tax structure in any sizable way, no, that seems a little irresponsible.
Then there's what he calls a double standard around gun control.
If they are able to voice their First Amendment rights with the right to vote, they should be able to enjoy their Second Amendment rights at 16 as well.
Another point of view worth exploring comes from child psychiatrist Jennifer Hagman.
I think at 16, from a cognitive development standpoint, kids have absolutely developed the cognitive ability to consider abstract concepts.
Hagman says numerous studies show 16-year-olds have the ability to solve difficult problems and consider different challenging questions. After all, she says, a lot of teens are more informed than older folks these days. 20 countries have granted teens aged 16 and 17 the right to vote. A handful of American cities have done the same for local elections. In 2013, Tacoma Park, Maryland became the first U.S. city to lower the voting age. Nearby Hyattsville, Maryland did too. And in Berkeley, California, people 16 and up can now vote in local school board elections.
This is about showing everybody that this will never happen again.
The question now is, will this rise of student activism amount to any real change at the ballot box? Jennifer Kovaleski, Denver 7.
Well, of course you had plenty to say on the topic of lowering the voting age. Supporters say if high school students can organize a worldwide march on an issue as controversial as gun control, they are more than capable of voting. Critics say teens shouldn't be allowed to vote on how other people's money, like taxes, are spent because they don't pay them. So Robert wrote into us saying, quote, "This is the same age group that is eating Tide Pods, snorting condoms, and jumping out of moving vehicles. I don't think they're mature enough to vote." Anthony says, should voting be capped at age 70? After all, you should make decisions if you aren't going to live long enough to be affected by them. And then Dylan wrote in saying he thinks it's perfectly reasonable, saying children are maturing faster with each new generation due to our technological advancements. All right, so do you have something different to say about this? Let us know. We want to hear it. 360 at thedenverchannel.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook or Twitter. From campaign finance to road and bridge improvements, nearly 24 ballot petitions are being circulated right now. People are out collecting signatures, all hoping to get the signatures needed to get their issue on the November ballot so you can vote. Well, thedenverchannel.com's Blair Miller is joining us now. We've all been getting bombarded at the grocery store, so before people head out the door, we wanted to give them a little bit of insight as to what these ballot initiatives are. Two biggies. I think the ones we're hearing about most regarding transportation.
Right. Yeah. This is you're going to see a lot of those people out there. We got the final week of these petition drives going on. Everybody has to turn their ballots in by August 6th.
August 6th, right?
So yeah, these two transportation ones are probably the two that are most likely to affect all of Colorado if they make the ballot. First one is from the Chamber of Commerce and some other people. Basically, it's tied to the Senate transportation bill from this year, and it's going to ask taxpayers to raise tax money. Essentially, 6 cents on every dollar, or every $10, excuse me, And so that's one of them. There's another one from the Independence Institute that's calling for state revenue to raise about $3.5 billion. So that's like about half of what the other one is calling for, all to sort of address this $9 billion backlog. And so those are the two that are probably the most likely to get onto the ballot because they have so much money coming in for support for them, and also the two that are probably among the most controversial because we've seen various ways that people want to address this road funding
And so
projects.
who is fighting these two initiatives then?
Well, on one side, the Fix Our Damn Roads one is John Caldera, and obviously they don't want to raise taxes, and so some Democrats have been pretty vocal against that because I think there's a lot of people who say that there's no way we can fund this stuff without raising taxes. And then all the fiscal conservatives are out against the tax increase one because they think there's ways we can do this without raising taxes. So we're basically into a classic fiscal battle here, economics. Do you think raising taxes is good for people? I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what you think we can do with this budget and this extra money coming into the state.
I love the approach at the grocery stores where they say, hey, do you want to fix our roads? You know, how do you respond to that? Of course we want our roads fixed, but it's...
Well, and I think that's part of what, you know, if you are getting asked to sign some of these petitions this week, make sure you know what you're signing because some of the things, you know, they address the same issue, but in very, very different ways. So the Initiative 153 is the tax increase one, and Initiative 167 is the Fix Our Damn Roads one. So if you are out there this week, just make sure you ask a couple more questions
which
about
ones
what
you're signing. Absolutely. All right, the other big issue, I think, is... regarding setbacks.
Right, and we saw last week a lot of more back and forth with this Initiative 97, the 2,500-foot setback rule. Basically, the proponents of the group, of the drive, essentially said that one of the petition gatherers took all the signatures to Oregon, and like about 15,000 of them. And then later, after a lawsuit was filed later in the day, they showed up back in Denver. So just kind of the latest in this ongoing dispute between anti-fracking activists and sort of the industry-backed groups that are opposing this issue.
But this issue calls for setbacks around schools and...
Schools, businesses, homes, really I think it's most active inhabited dwellings, really, but 2,500 feet has been something that I think most people, even Democrats, have been opposed to as far as our lawmakers. And I think that there are some questions of whether or not that's going to make the ballot.
So we will see, because as you pointed out, it's been hotly contested this week just with the signature gathering process.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Blair Miller of the denverchannel.com. We know there are more issues out there. We don't want to bombard you with all of them right now, but we will stay on top of these and see what ends up on the November ballot.
Yep.
By the way, if you ever have a question or a segment idea, you can tweet us at Denver7Politics. And you can always watch today's segments anytime at thedenverchannel.com/Politics Unplugged. Thank you so much for watching today. We appreciate it. We will see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics Unplugged.